Jess here from the Reptile Look with Bubbles, our ball python, and today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of keeping ball python snakes. Before we get into that, let's give a little bit of backstory about Bubbles. So Bubbles is a rescue snake, and he came from a pet store where somebody dropped him off and wasn't able to take care of him. He unfortunately was dropped off in a dirty enclosure. He was being fed rats that were way too big for him, and he was being fed live rodents, which is never recommended. However, now he lives in a much cleaner enclosure. He has been trained to eat frozen thawed, which is a big relief for us because that's what we recommend feeding with our snakes. And he has been put on a special diet where he is starting to get to a healthier weight slowly but surely. First, let's start off with some of the downsides of owning a ball python as a pet. The first one is that they can be very picky eaters. Some people get their ball python and they go weeks or even months without eating, and this can happen especially if they were eating live rodents and then you try to switch them to frozen thawed. We always recommend the frozen thawed. It is healthier and safer for the snake because a live rodent can fight back. So because of that, we always recommend frozen thawed. That is what Bubbles eats, if he will get back in the camera. So that is definitely a downside. When we first got Bubbles, he was a very shy eater. He didn't want to eat right away. Now he is a champion with it, and he eats his rodents every 2 weeks, as he should, and he overall does great, but that is a very common problem with ball python owners that they face with their snakes. Another downside of keeping ball pythons is that you have to really do your research with which morph you get. There's hundreds and potentially even thousands of morphs or color varieties that are available in the industry right now when it comes to getting a ball python, but some of them come with genetic issues. Bubbles is a good example of that. He has what's called wobble syndrome because he's a champagne morph. Now, champagne morph, among some others, have what's called the spider gene, and that spider gene causes this neurological condition that makes it where their heads can't quite ever stay still, even when the whole rest of their body is still and they're not actively trying to go somewhere. So that is a big thing to keep into consideration. Now, we did not get Bubbles from a breeder, so we did not contribute to the issue of getting a snake with this wobble syndrome. He will never be bred from us. He was a rescue that needed a home, and that is why we chose to take him in compared to a snake that was a different morph. Now for some of the pros of keeping a ball python is they are fairly docile snakes. As you can see, he's just hanging out in my hand without really any issues. He's just exploring, smelling the environment, all of that. And these guys are known as a very popular type of pet snake for that reason. They're also not quite as active as, say, a corn snake or other colubrid snakes would be. They tend to just kind of chill. I mean, they're going to move a little bit like Bubbles is, but overall, they can sit with you a little bit more than some other snake species can. Another pro of keeping a ball python as a pet is that these guys are a fairly decent sized snake. They are more of a medium sized snake, so you're gonna feel that weight to them. Bubbles weighs about like a gallon of milk is what it feels like when you handle him, but he's not so big that it takes 2 people to handle him or anything like that. So if you want a snake that's a little bigger but still easy to handle on your own, then this is a good snake to look into. Pro number 3 of why these guys make great pets is because, like I mentioned earlier, they are very popular, which means it's not hard to find one that either needs a new home or one from a reputable breeder. So you could go to an expo or just about any rehoming page or a reptile shelter and you'd be able to find a ball python with very little of a challenge in that task. Overall, ball pythons do make great snakes. We hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.